Donald Trump survived his second assassination attempt in the last 2 months, and the American people are saying enough is enough. I'm Drenda, and this is Drenda on Guard. Let's get into it. On September 15, 2024, a gunman named Ryan Wesley Roth attempted to assassinate Donald Trump at Trump International Golf Club in West Palm Beach. Roth was in 500 yards within that distance from Trump. With a rifle and a scope, it would be easy shot for an experienced shooter. The gunman was believed to have spent 12 hours at the golf course waiting for an opportunity to attack Trump. Biden is called to give him more security. However, how did this even happen? I mean, how are these attempts at his life happening? And who is wanting him dead? And what is going on with inside his camp? Is there a mole in the camp? There's a good question to ask that, because no one knew. It was not on his calendar that he was going to be playing golf, and only a very, very close, small group of people knew about it. We know the gunman is known as a Democrat. He is not only a Democrat, he's a donator to Act Blue. He's a Ukraine sympathizer. He tried to promote himself as a recruiter for the Ukrainian war. And he was trying to get soldiers from Afghanistan, from Iran, from Syria, people that they'd already told him were off limits to recruit, and he wasn't even a recruiter. He was posing as it. He was seen on video with the Azov Brigade. As you may know, they definitely have fascist ties. They're a militant Ukrainian group. So some are speculating that he may have been hired by those who want the war in Ukraine to continue. The gunman is also a career criminal with over 100 criminal charges. Most notably, in 2002, he was arrested for possessing a weapon of mass destruction. I mean, this guy was already on the Fed's radar. He'd already been basically put out there, but they did nothing to stop it. The DHS did nothing to bring him in. There were reports, Ukrainians, that people in Ukraine that had worked with him, that were part of our government, warned them about him being a predator, about him boasting of things that killing world leaders, about him trying to recruit people that were dangerous, and that he wasn't a recruiter, that he was posing as all these things. So with all their, quote, red flag laws, how did he get past our DHS? And why is it that the media seems to be so dead set on villainizing Trump? I found it interesting that the first shooter, Thomas Crook's would-be assassin, that he was in a BlackRock advertisement, and that this would-be assassin, Roth, was in New York Times articles quoted consistently. So why is it the left media, which is supposed to be mainstream, but we all know anymore they are anything but mainstream, they are leftists as far as they can go, and they are propagandists who continually try to villainize Trump while they themselves are the villains. We saw it also in the debate. We saw how ABC fact check going against Trump, but never did that with Kamala Harris. And people are now fact checking themselves and seeing how many things that she misrepresented and told out lies that were not called out in the debate. So it appears the media is driving this narrative. So much so that when you travel, I traveled to Nova Scotia, and people up there just believed that Trump didn't even really get shot because of the media. They believed possibly some shrapnel hit him, and that maybe it was a setup. Wow, they believed those lies because the media told them those lies, just like the media incites violence in these, I believe, would-be assassins. And let's see what Karine Jean-Pierre had to say when questioned about her rhetoric towards Trump.
Thank you, Karine. It's been only 2 days since somebody allegedly tried to kill Donald Trump again. And you're here at the podium in the White House briefing room calling him a threat. How many more assassination attempts on Donald Trump until the president and the vice president and you pick a different word to describe Trump other than threat?
Peter, if anything from this administration, I actually completely disagree with the premise of your question, the question that you're asking. It is also incredibly dangerous in the way that you're asking it, because American people are watching. And to say that from an administration who has consistently condemned political violence, from an administration where the president called the former president and was thankful, grateful that he was okay, from an administration who has called out January 6th, called out the attack of Paul Pelosi, called out and said we need to lower the temperature after the Butler incident, and now for you to make that kind of comment in your question, because your question involved a comment and a statement. And, it is, that is also incredibly dangerous. When we have been very clear in condemning political violence from here, what I have said about the president, the former president, about January 6th is facts that you all have reported. It is fact. When you have a former president who basically says that the election wasn't, the results of the election were not the results of the election. When dozens of more than 60 Republican judges said that it was a free and fair election. More than 60 said it was indeed a free and fair election. You had more than 2,000 people who were told to go to the Capitol. It was one of the darkest days of our democracy. One of the darkest days. There were people law enforcement officers who died because of what happened at the Capitol. And they were there because the former president told them to go there. I mean, I don't know if that's not a threat in our democracy when it was one of the darkest days of our democracy, January 6th. One of the darkest days. And so we have been very clear from here. Now, we can have a disagreement on policies. We can, on issues. That is what we should do. It is important to have those disagreements. It is welcome to have those disagreements on the economy, on healthcare, on foreign policy. But when you start bringing political rhetoric, that is not okay. And that's what you've heard from us, too. You've heard of differences on policies.
But to your point, there are people watching at home who might miss the part where you say, let's lower the temperature, and there are mentally unstable people who are attempting to kill political candidates, attempting to kill Donald Trump, and they are still hearing this White House refer to him as a threat. Is there no concern that people are taking that literally?
We're using examples. We're not just saying that just to say it. January 6th, Peter. January 6th. Wait, January 6th. How many times do we have to? January 6th, 2021. That is a fact. What was reported that happened on that day by some of your colleagues. I mean, and we have at the same time denounced political violence over and over, political rhetoric over and over again, over and over again. But I know your focus has to be on this side of the house. It can't be on your side of the house. I get that. But we also have to be careful on how you're asking me these questions. People are watching, and is what you are saying about us raising political violent rhetoric, however you just formulated it, this is an administration that has denounced and condemned any type of political rhetoric or violence. It is the reason why this president decided to run in 2020. That is why the president decided to come back. He believed that it is important to save the soul of America, of our nation, and he believed it was important that we continue to fight for our democracy, fight for our freedom. That's what you see from this administration. I'm moving on. Go ahead, Ed.
As you can see, the liberal media nor the White House want to take any credit for the violence they continually incite. And even we have people like Howard Stern who does that. We have Jimmy Kimmel. We have all kinds of people in the media and celebrity culture. Also, they keep calling for violence against Trump. It's seems to be heyday. Anybody can say or do anything they want against Donald Trump, and it's okay. But let somebody wear a MAGA hat into the baseball game at the Arizona Cardinals, and they're made to take off the hat and throw it in the trash can. We have so grown accustomed to censorship, people aren't even seeing it anymore. They justify it. They justify the rhetoric against Trump. They justify the censorship against any right media, any media that's really middle down the road anymore. You can't have those discussions anymore. They want to drive the narrative. We see the deep state imploding on itself. And we see this man, Roth, and his son having that same type of vitriol and hatred toward Trump. Roth, I was just in Hawaii doing a conference there, and I almost just thought, I'm going to go out and see where this guy lives, but I thought, no, don't go there, Drenda. Anyway, but he's a self-employed, low-income housing builder in Hawaii. Over 100 situations with criminal offenses. This guy's clearly not in his right actions mind. And on Monday, in an interview with Fox News Digital, Trump said that the suspect simply believed the words spoken by Biden and Kamala and acted on them. And it's true. In an effort to assign responsibility to the current administration and their dangerous rhetoric, Trump was bringing out the truth of what we see, but the administration wants to flip the tables and say that Donald Trump is the reason for all of this, that Donald Trump is the one that's responsible. Governor Ron DeSantis isn't seeing it that way. He's actually conducting his own investigation in Florida into the matter and saying the people deserve the truth about the would-be assassin and how he was able to get within 500 yards of the former president and current GOP nominee. Trump's announced that he still intends to show up to every single event on his schedule ahead of the 2024 election. I know we just had an issue also where he was just at in Arizona, where there were people in the front row whose vision was blurred and who had headaches and who had some sight issues, burning of eyes and things after the event. So we know there's all types of things happening to try to stop Donald Trump and his presidency. We see election integrity issues. We're hearing rumors of that more and more. Things are coming into light. You and I need to continue to pray. I do believe that Donald Trump has actually been able to walk away from these two would-be assassins because of prayers of people like you. I believe that God has intervened in these situations, and God is also speaking to Donald Trump himself about his destiny and about what he must do and needs to do. Would it be possible that there are those who really want a civil war in America and want to see America collapse? We can look back all the way, even before the Obama administration, but we saw the play to destroy America from day one of the Obama administration. And now we're seeing all of these seeds that were sown, all of these actions that were taken. We see the fruition of that in every area of our society. I believe that there are those who want Donald Trump dead, not only because they don't want him to be president, but they also want to incite a civil war and cause Americans to turn against each other, as they already have done with all of the rhetoric that's caused these two would-be assassins to make their attempts. And they could be further than that. They could be paid and bought by somebody even high up in our own government. But there is a mole, most likely, in the Trump campaign, and we need to recognize these alleged bomb threats in New York City, the attack on Trump supporters and voters, almost to the place where people are afraid to wear, any of the support, T-shirts, hats. They're afraid to speak up. They're afraid to tell who they are voting for. We don't see that in the Harris campaign, and it's not because they're so proud of who they have running, but because it is the right that is being persecuted by the left. The left, they are the ones that are the agitators. They are the ones who are stirring the strife. They are the ones who are creating all kinds of turmoil. And I do believe that we are seeing what I said in Fight Like Heaven play out. We see elitists in the earth that are trying to bring us in to they called it a great reset. The Bible calls it a new world order, an antichrist system. and they have been doing evil for quite some time, as we see in other arenas, other mountains, and things are being exposed. Whether you look at medicine, you look at education, you look at the traffic rings, you look at what's going on. These evildoers have been manipulating you, your money, our elections, and our American dream for quite some time. And now they're trying to destroy our Constitution. And the way to do that is to bring a civil war. Whether it's before the election, it's after the election, it's through an assassination of Donald Trump, whatever, they want us to divide and they want to conquer us. They want to destroy us. And so we must make decisions that we are going to show up on election day. We will have an election and we will stand for the Constitution. We will stand for truth. We'll not be pushed back, but we also will not enter into strife and a fight that would cause us to lose our nation. So we have to be very, very careful in this time. I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below and what you think. And until then, we've got to really keep in prayer, continue to pray for Donald Trump, continue to pray Psalm 37 that the evildoers will be exposed. And I just remind you again, God laughs at their plans because the Bible says, God says, I know the plans I have for you. Plans to bless you, not to harm you, to give you a future and a hope. And I do believe that the American experiment that Ben Franklin said, we've handed you today a republic if you can keep it. I do believe we are at that crossroads and we must turn to the ancient way, the way that leads to life, as Jeremiah 6 says, the path that leads to God's plans and His ways. We need to turn back there in our families, our marriages, our homes, turn back to the Constitution, turn back to respect and honor, honoring what is righteous, honoring God's ways that produce life and bring life more abundantly. So continue your prayers, and please let me know in the comments what you think is going on and what you think we need to do. I think that we need to stand on God's word and stand and see the deliverance of our God. Until next time, stay on guard. We'll see you then. God bless you. Have a great day.